So on this channel, it's all too easy to give you feedback on the troublesome customers, isn't it? Because you do get a lot of them when you're public facing. You get the time wasters, you get the ultra picky people, you get the people that think they've bought a brand new car for £2,000. We get all of that. And like I say, it's too easy to do videos on that because, let's go into the sunshine because it is lovely. It's all too easy to do videos on that because those are the most watched video. You guys absolutely love those videos out there. But you need to give a shout out when you get a cracking customer. So today's shout out is to Dave, who part exchanged in the Skoda Octavia over there and took away a Hyundai i40 estate. Phone rang off the hook for that customer, for that car. Could have sold it 10 times over, but Dave was the first one in. Came along and he bought the car, and I said, look, well, the only thing we're going to do is go down and get it. I think we went down and got an MOT done on it, but also we went down to get the parking sensors sorted because the parking sensors were playing up, rear parking sensors. So I ordered up a couple of new sensors thinking that one or two might be faulty. Gave them to the Moores guys, they fitted them and it didn't solve the problem for some reason. Don't quite know why it didn't solve the problem. They couldn't get it to work. They thought it could be a body control unit issue, but other people said that it wouldn't be at all. Anyway, got conflicting information on it. I said, Dave was due to pick the car up. And I said, look, Dave, can't get them working. I'll give you a discount. I think I gave Dave £350 off the car for the issue. In case you wanted to get it checked out. And obviously I gave him the option to pull out the sale. Dave opted to take it away with the known issue. So we put it down as a known fault and we note what the discount was for on the form so that, you know, should there be an issue later on. Dave's obviously a top guy, but some people, you know, might still be cheeky and come back and try and hit me up for the repair later on. So we make sure it's all documented on the form. So Dave took the car away. And he phoned me a day or so later to say, actually, James, the parking sensors, they've kicked in again. They're working. They've self-healed, which is strange. I don't know if perhaps the Moores guys disturbed some wiring and it's now happy again, or it did ended up doing some kind of reset. I'm not quite sure, but he said the parking sensors have started working again. So brilliant. But he said there's a couple of little issues. He said the sat-nav isn't correctly identifying where I am. It's thinking I'm up country or something along those lines. He said, and the other issue is cruise control was working fine on the way home, but it stopped working today. So I was, oh my goodness. So same old, same old. The issue with giving a discount is that if you then need to do repairs, you're spending out on repairs and you're giving a discount, so you doubly hit. You're almost better off saying, I've considered doing this sometimes, comment down below. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you a discount at 6 months. If after 6 months you've not had to make any claims, then I'll give you an agreed discount now. So X amount back. And if you have had the claim, I've done the fixes, so I use the money to do that. So you've had the money either way. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are down below on that. Anywho, it might make people less likely to make claims off small items, to be fair. Could be an interesting way to do business, couldn't it? Anyway, so I said to Dave, I said, look, I've not heard of that before. I'm going to need to do some research onto the sat-nav side of things. Cruise control, I'm at a loss with that. You're going to need to take it into a local garage and get them to check it out. And I left it with him. I did a couple of days research, sent him an email with my findings. I do like to email people. Again, it's kind of just covering my back to show evidence that, again, not an issue with Dave because he's a great guy, but should I deal with someone more difficult and they say I didn't return a phone call, or they say I said X, Y, Z in a phone call, at least I've got it down in writing. Phone calls, there's no real evidence unless you're recording them, is there? So I got back to Dave with an email. I said, look, I've done a little bit of research on the Hyundai, and a couple of things I found is, one, if your aerial plays up, then the shark fin aerial, that can cause the issue. So do you have any problems with the radio getting signal at all or not? I said, and the other thing is, is that some people have had some success downloading the latest software which is available for the sat-nav to a USB stick and putting in a USB drive in the car and uploading it. So some people have had some success doing that. So can you let me know if the stereo issues or not? I said the other thing I could do is probably order a new SD card from eBay with the map on it. So can you let me know if you're having problems with the stereo or not at all? Well, I didn't hear anything for a couple of days, but he rang me up apologising he hadn't been able to get hold of me this morning because he'd been busy. But Dave, the legend, has been having a little tinker himself. So he pulled the cruise control switch, gave it a little squirt of some contact cleaner, and the cruise control started working again. So it was just literally the switch in the steering wheel or wherever it is on that one. I can't remember where it is. So fair play, Dave. Nice one. Most people wouldn't get hands on like that, and I kind of appreciate why most people don't know how to do that, and some people are worried of breaking things. But he thought he'd have a little go himself, and he fixed it. So brilliant. And then regards the sat-nav, he has already downloaded the software and is going to have a go over the weekend to upload the sat-nav with the new software and see if that works or not. Might still not work, but kudos to him for giving it a go, rather than make it all entirely my problem. I will update you to let you know whether that fixes it or not, in case you're having similar problems yourself, or if you have had that issue yourself with Hyundais, put a comment down below with it giving you the wrong location, starting location. Comment down below, let me know how you resolved that. But yeah, big thumbs up, big kudos to Dave, much appreciated. And I mean, hopefully he doesn't run into any further problems, but you've got to shout out those top customers. I have the troublesome Peugeot back with its new body control unit. Second one we had to order up. It's taken about 2 weeks to sort this out for the customer. This was the customer we sold it to, and it went into limp mode a couple of days later. I've given a ring, told them it's ready. I said I did want to drive it over the weekend to check everything was 100% okay, but they've asked for it straight back. So they're obviously not enjoying the Skoda Octavia. I left them as a loan car as much as we thought they would. Want to give it a clean off first. Obviously it's been sitting outside the garage. We'll stop off, get some chockies for them and some flowers for the lady, to thank them for their patience. They've asked about the warranty. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to extend the warranty out. Well, I want to start it afresh from the day I drop it off now. I'm going to start it afresh for them, so they haven't lost any time while it's been in having the work done. And fingers crossed, that's the last we'll see of it. They do go through body control units, these. We've stuck a new one on, so theoretically should be good to go. The 1.6 HDI engine's pretty tough, so other than EGRs, that kind of thing, they tend to be okay. So yeah, cross your fingers for me, I don't see it again. Unfortunately, it's one of those things when you work on your own. I was going to be prepping the Suzuki Swift to get it up for sale for the weekend, but you can't prioritise a new potential sale over an existing customer. So we've had to focus on getting this done today, along with some other bits and bobs. Nearly forgot I wanted to throw a new door rubber in as well. That one was all torn up along here. I didn't get one in time before the car went out, so I did say I'd track one down and give them a bell when it's in, but as I've had the car back, it's opportunity to stick it in. Wasn't too hard, just needed to take off the air bag panel on the side there to be able to get behind it. Other than that, it was an easy job to do. I'm sure it would have been a problem in the summer, but come winter again, it would have gotten really fogged up inside, wouldn't it? I don't know if I let you know I picked this Suzuki Swift up the other day, 2013, I forgot what the mileage is. I reckon a bit 60, 70, 80,000, something like that, around about that figure. A few bits and bobs to do on it. I want to give it a machine polish, and I want to touch in the paint here. Well, not touch it in, I want to spray it. I've got some other spraying going on at the moment, so I've got some 2K cans on the go that I can use up while I'm at it. I think there's a scuff there on the front corner of the bumper. Nothing outrageous, but because it's in really nice nick, it'd be nice to do those little bits a little bit down there. I've already got the right colour paint, so I'm just going to sand her out, sand those bits down, get the filler primer on, and then get some colour on, and I shouldn't have to blend into any other panels for these bits and bobs. So let's get cracking on that. So all the grooves have been sanded back in the bumper there. They've all been sanded back to 400 and then 600 Scotch pad on that. Same on the bit back here, down the bottom there. Didn't really need to do that, but I got a bit out of control going around the car. That would have been touched in okay, to be fair. And then the wing mirror cap up here. Did have a go at prizing the wing mirror cap off. Normally I take them off the car, but this one didn't want to come very easily, so we'll do it in situ on the car. Just make sure we mask everything off nicely, avoid breaking something. It's only that bit down there that really needs doing, but obviously you've got a scuff right the way out, so you've got a blend area. Everything's been sanded down, it's been keyed up with the 600 grit Scotch pad around it, and then I've put some of the Pro XL high build primer over the areas that I sanded back. This is the best one for you to use if you're not painting very often, because this is the 1K, which means it doesn't have a chemical agent that you mix with it to make it harden inside the can. This air dries. It's a sunny day. Well, it was a sunny day and it had very little wind. Now it's clouding over and the wind's getting up a bit. But you can put this on the shelf, come back to it a month later and carry on using it, whereas if you use a 2K it would have gone off by then. And you don't need the specialist breathing equipment either for it. So gone round, sprayed that over the areas that I sanded back. I'm going to go along in a minute when it's dried off and give it another going over with the 600 Scotch to take some of the primer back off the areas I don't want primer on, and key up the surface, which is now going to be a bit smooth from this spray, to take the colour. And then we will use 2K, probably use some of the 2K lacquer just so it hardens off quickly outside here, and then I can get onto machine polish and the rest of the body. If I use the 2K, it will hard as the final coat of the lacquer, the Pro XL 2K, then I will be able to machine polish the car later on today without affecting the paint that I did earlier. I use the small cans, which is again what I recommend for you to use, because again, once they're hardened, they go off and you can't use them again. But if you use little half-size cans, I'll show you them in a minute, you're not going to waste any of the lacquer. You'll have enough to do your job, and you'll have a nice hard finish on it. You can use 1K lacquer, nothing using 1K lacquer, but you're going to have to leave that, I would say, I normally leave that 3 or 4 days before I start going back to hardening it before I go back to polishing it, because I want it to be ultra hard, and it needs to have several hours to do that. What am I blabbering on about? I don't know why it's taken me so long to say that. The 1K takes a long time to harden off. You want to lose it 3 or 4 days because it air dries before you start trying to sand it or buff it. Whereas the 2K, you can leave for a couple of hours. Hopefully that all makes sense. And while I'm waiting for the filler primer to go off, I'm going to pull these hubcaps off and spray the wheels black. You can see there's just a bit of surface corrosion around some of the holes there. It's spoiling the look of it. The wheel trims are nice enough, so we'll just pull those off. And they don't seem to be fixed anyway, so this will be a very quick job, and just really lifts the car if you do this. You don't have to be fancy about this, you don't have to be pretty about it, it's just a tidy up job. Obviously these are steel wheels, they're thick as you like, you don't need to do any major prep on them or anything like that. Just get a wire brush on, get all the loose stuff off. Even if you get a bit on the tyre, it's not the end of the world because it's black and you're not going to notice it. So you don't have to go spending ages masking the tyre up, you don't have to spend ages getting the wheel off the car or anything like that. Just give all a good old scuff and a clean. I'll give this a clean with some degreaser in a second. And just mask off your valve there with a bit of masking tape, just to be a bit of a tidier job. Obviously this is low tyre as well, I need to get some air in that tyre. But we just want to get this loose stuff off. You could treat it with a anti-rust treatment beforehand if you wanted. But again, I don't think it's really that important on this job. No one's going to pay you hundreds extra for the car because you sandblasted the wheels down and painted them before. They just want them to look tidy. There you go, with the wheel trim back on. You can see it just looks a lot neater than seeing rust through the spokes of the wheel trim there. Time for the colour. Now, where possible, you want to avoid going panel to panel. So here I can't really avoid it because the damage is right up to the edge, but here on the corner, I'm going to try and flick the colour up here and not go right up against the other panel there. It just leads to less obvious colour differences. You are going to get colour differences, you know, it's nigh on impossible to get exactly on. The measurements they use are the same, but it only takes a slight little hit of the button to add a tiny bit more, and it'll make quite a bit of difference. Plus you never know if the car's been painted before. Remember, your first coat is a dust coat. Make sure your nozzle is free and blowing okay. Wind's got up a little bit. Don't like it quite so windy. I would do it inside, but we've got plenty on the inside as always. So just a little dust. We're not trying to fully colour it at the moment. We want that to settle, see if there's any reactions, give it as a keying surface for the next few coats. Last coat on the mirror cap there. I don't think we've got a bad match there because we haven't done too big an area and been able to blend it out. Around this side we need another coat, like a fade out coat, where I'm going to flick it out in that direction a bit more, blend it into the other paint. You can still see some of the primer slightly through that one. Don't try and lag it all at once. I know everyone says it, but it's so tempting to do it, and then you end up with runs. This side didn't need quite so much to cover the filler primer. Maybe just give it one more dust coating, but that looks like it'll blend in quite nicely as well, that side. And then next step will be to throw the lacquer on. So we've got the little can of Pro XL 2 clear out. So like I said, these are the little cans that they chemically harden, so they'll go off really quick, but being small like this, you're not going to waste a whole can doing little repairs like this. So we've got 2 coats of the lacquer on so far. We've got a bit of shine on it, but we'll go with a heavier coat on the last coat, and then we've got the fade out thinner ready to go to blend in the two lacquers, because as I said before, if you just put lacquer on and then sand it there, you'll get a bit of a scar mark on it, which you can get away with to a certain extent, but this is a lot neater. It's basically thin as in a can. You give it a light spray on there and it'll blend the two in together. We do it on the very last coat, so we'll wait for that to go off for a few minutes, put the last coat of the Pro Excel on, and then give it a dust of the fade out thinner. I've done it on the cap already here, because this one didn't really need more than 2 coats. You see, you can't see now where I put the lacquer on because I've put the fade out thinner on there to blend it out. I pulled the masking off. I'll leave it overnight now, and then we'll go along with the polisher. I'll go along with the polisher and buff the blend lines in. Down here, the colour on the wing is a bit darker than the other wing heel, though it will help when I machine polish that, and when I flat that, I'll bring it a little bit closer together. That may well have had paint at some point, because it doesn't seem to be an issue down here, but then again I didn't go right up to the line. I have got a slight reaction, you can probably just see on the light there, on there, that I need to wet sand that down a little bit to flat the lacquer down a bit there. That's the only bit I had a problem with. I say the wing mirror is okay, but now after a machine polish on the rest of the car, we will have, yeah, I mean, you see there's a slight difference in the bumper colour there to wing. Yeah, after I've given the car a buff, we're going to have a little Swift with no scrapes or scratches on it at all, anywhere. And obviously those wheels look a lot better now. I've gone along, painted them all black and put those trims back on again. You can't really get a price premium for doing this kind of thing. The car probably would have sold with the scuff wing mirror and the little scuffs on the corner bumper, probably would have still sold. But it'll sell quicker this way. When I do a video on it, a walk around video and show how clean it is, and people come along, they'll want to grab it straight away as a general rule. That's what tends to happen. Fingers crossed. So there's a buff of the wing mirror cap. Following morning, took the polisher to it, buffed out all my fade out thinner, all that kind of stuff. And you can see there's no longer an edge or a line between the two paints. You can't really see any colour difference on this one as well, because I blended it right here. I can do a bit more to smooth it out again. I'll probably give it another buff in a second, but that's what it looks like after you buff out your fade out thinner. I say I'd always leave it 24 hours if you're using 2K. If you're using 1K, I'd leave it anywhere up to a week, to be honest. So that's buffed back now. Again, it's a little bit darker the paint than the original, but not the end of the world. And then I've buffed back here as well. I've wet sanded that. Bit of reaction I had at the top. Not to a perfect finish, but to a much more respectable finish. There's no real colour mismatch there at all. So now we'll give it another valet, get it photographed and get it up for sale. So before I photograph the Swift, I'm machine polishing the rest of the bodywork, going around doing like all these gloss blacks. You can see there's now no oxidization to that anymore, and a lot of light scratches have gone out of it, doing all the doors. This is fairly light machine polish, using a wool head and the compound on this one. We'll quickly zip round, give the headlights a bit of a buff out. It's difficult to see on this side where I haven't polished, but I guess if you look over this side, you can see the difference. They're a bit duller. All the paint looks a little bit more dull on this side. That hasn't been done. Quite a laborious process. If you get a valet to do it, it's 350 quid, so you have to do it yourself, but it will make the car sell super quick. When people come along, see my walk around video on it, come along and see this versus similar cars of the age they're looking at, it's going to be an easy decision for them to make to buy mine, isn't it? Of course, the last thing we do before we photograph any car is make sure all these plastics pop and they're not looking grey. And for that we use our favourite product, you know it by now, or you should do, Outrel, the colour Outrel. I still don't pronounce it right, do I? The colour restoring oil. Link in the video description down below with a discount code, because they now work with me on it because I keep promoting it so much. But get this stuff on all your plastics. It soaks right in, and it turns all those greys into a nice shiny black. I put it on a bit of faded paintwork as well, and it just brings it up lovely, and it lasts for ages. Don't think you can get away using WD-40 or peanut butter or whatever else random things come up in the comment. It doesn't last as long. Streaks is horrible. This stuff lasts. It properly feeds into the plastic. Big shout out to Tyre and Wheel Services at Tavistock. Some of you used to watch a channel called Tyre Kickers. with Jason. Used to see him use them quite a lot for his warranty work and his prep work. Well, I had a customer up that way, Tavistock way, couldn't get a local garage booked in early enough to get the work done on her Yeti that needed an ABS sensor. I gave them a ring because I've used them before for a customer up that way. They've always been massively helpful, and they got her in within a couple of days. They just gave me a ring. They only charged me £99 to stick a ABS sensor on it, sort that out for her. So yeah, ideal. Great service from those guys again. So if you're in that Tavistock area, Tyre and Wheel Services, I'm definitely going to add them. I'm building a nice list of garages that I'm happy to use, so that when somebody's a bit further afield and they're having a problem, I can go, yeah, try these guys out. Rushed in this morning, just finished machine polishing this Kia Rio for pickup. This is the one I picked up from auction, if you remember. I'm not making a lot of money out of this one at all. It's cost quite a bit in prep. And the chap who came to buy it, saw it for his daughter, asked me if I could do anything about some of the scratching in the bodywork. I have to admit, I did have a little bit of a laugh about it. No dig at him, but he was driving a brand new Range Rover and started to go around the car and pick a few of the scratches out on it. But I'm quite pleased with the result on it. I think they are going to be when they come and see it as well. It does look fantastic now. 3995, this one's gone out the door at. I also fitted her, I haven't told them this yet, but I fitted an upgraded, I like to throw money at things, and I fitted an upgraded little Bluetooth adapter there for her as well, so that she can use that to skip, because she's got the controls here for Bluetooth on her phone, but I don't think these do Bluetooth audio unless they're plugged in via the auxiliary input or the USB input. But that allows her to skip tracks. If she's got Spotify on her phone, she'll be able to skip tracks. What else have we done to this one? Oh, I went and got the aircon regassed for him because he said the aircon wasn't blowing cold. So we regassed the aircon, which is always quite expensive stuff to do on a 3995 car. It adds up very, very quickly because no one's giving you these cars for free, are they? I think from the auction this cost something like £2,500 before we got it back, and then it was MOT time for advisory free MOT, which cost quite a bit. And like I said, then there was the aircon regas, some other bits and bobs, advertising. Yeah, not a lot of money left in that one. I might show the numbers with that a bit later if I don't put it on screen now. Good news though is the Peugeot has sold. The little Peugeot we got from a subscriber. That has sold straight away. Craig was valeting it for me yesterday, and a lady came along looking for a little car, but she wanted a bit of a higher ride height, but she wanted petrol, not diesel, and she didn't want it to be too big. Bang on. We got the increased ride height. We've got the 1.2 petrol in there that's had its wet belt done on it, and they really love the colour of the car, the look of the car. They've been recommended by Motorworks in town, so many thanks to Motorworks. They've done the work on her car. They get it, she has had for 20 years. She's got a Vauxhall Mariva that she's had for 20 years. They bought it nearly new. It's a 2004, 2005. Wasn't very confident about driving this one. I took her for a spin to show how much grunt this had. Had plenty of grunt. She had a little spin around the car park in it to get a bit more confidence up that way. I think our subscriber's going to be really pleased with the home that's gone to, because he really loved and looked after this car. They said this is the car that's probably going to see them out now. They don't think they're going to get another car after this. And like I said, their previous car, they had it for 20 years, so they clearly do look after them. So I think that is a really good end to the story of the subscriber selling me this one. I do like it when they match up, when we get a car in from a subscriber and it matches up with someone that was just looking for exactly that. And they were really nice people, so I think our subscriber will be very pleased with that. That's it, end of another busy day. The Kia Rio's just gone out. Last minute rush. Brother had to come back and give me cash due to some banking issues. I'm going to go and drop the Peugeot off now and pick up the Skoda loan car. It is looking very empty, considering all the cars on left-hand side bar one aren't stock. We're looking very, very empty. Oh, that's for another video. As always, massive thanks for watching my ramblings. I hope you enjoyed another little bit of insight into car trading. Cheap car trading, I always say, because let's face it, most of my cars are sub £5 grand or sub £7 grand. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.